Common misconceptions when encountering a woman, what you should avoid doing. I'm sure it's happened to you before. You glance at a woman, trying to flirt with her, and she notices you looking, but you're not sure how to react. In this video, you'll learn about the common mistakes men make when looking at or staring at a woman, and what to do instead. Have you ever found yourself in a somewhat awkward situation of exchanging glances with a woman? You look at her, she looks back, but you quickly avert your gaze, not knowing exactly what it meant or what to do next. Nowadays, it's quite common to hear some men saying not to look at women at all, fearing it could be considered harassment. However, the truth is, you're only at risk of having your gaze misinterpreted if you act inappropriately or in the wrong environment. Pay attention now to how to look at a woman, something you definitely shouldn't do. The first mistake is looking at a woman's body as a flirting zone when you want to get to know her or already are. The correct approach is to focus from the neck up if you want to positively attract her attention. I'm specifically talking about attracting the attention of a woman who is potentially a valuable partner, someone you could have a relationship with. Therefore, avoid looking at her body and focus on her eyes, and even her mouth, as the area between the eyes and mouth is not easily distinguishable when you're a bit away from her. Avoiding looking at her body is crucial if you want to positively attract attention and avoid problems. Another wrong way to look, which you definitely shouldn't do, is to have an obsessed gaze. Having someone constantly staring at you obsessively is disturbing. Imagine getting on a subway and noticing someone who won't stop staring at you. You try to look away, read a book, check your phone, but when you look again, there's the person staring at you again. This can be a bit scary because you don't exactly know what that person wants. Nowadays, being stared at obsessively by someone can be interpreted as a sign of danger. People are afraid of being victims of something more serious. So, avoid staring at the woman, no matter how beautiful you think she is or even if you believe she's showing signs of interest. Alright, I understand that looking at a woman's body isn't a good idea, and I also realize that staring obsessively isn't appropriate. But how do you get it right then? Understand one thing, all women, both interested and not interested, and not to say all, let's say the majority of them, will notice when a man is looking at them and will look away. It's practically an automatic behavior, looking at a man who's looking at them and then looking away. Holding eye contact is an extremely rare attitude, reserved for very confident women who are experienced in flirting, which is uncommon. Now, pay attention to this detail. There are two ways a woman can look away when you look at her. The first way is she looks at you and then looks away to the side. This sideways glance tends to be a more evasive posture, a sign of disinterest on the woman's part. On the other hand, looking down, when a woman lowers her eyes, tends to be an involuntary gesture resulting from increased adrenaline in her body, indicating that she's embarrassed. So, when she looks down, it's usually a sign of interest, while looking to the side indicates disinterest, showing that she's not interested in the person in front of her. So, knowing this, it's important to note that this isn't the only indication of interest that a woman can give. The distance between you can also be a sign, such as if her feet are directed toward you. This is one of the signs that make up the interest scale. Additionally, she may be adjusting herself, fixing her clothes, or even her hair after realizing that you were looking at her. All of these are observable signs. And the fact is, if you notice that she looks back at you frequently, looks down, and then looks back again, the best way to know if that look is one of genuine curiosity about you is to go talk to her. However, talking to the woman doesn't mean you should approach her and say, "Wow, I thought you were very beautiful, I was looking at you." Nowadays, the best way to approach a woman is to start a conversation indirectly, commenting on something you observed in the environment you're in, or something related to her in a calm way. Making an observation like this establishes much more comfort for women. Therefore, the best way to know if that look is indeed a look of curiosity is by talking to her. Don't wait too long to do this. It's quite common for me to receive messages from men who spend a week observing a woman in the same environment they're in, trying to understand what her gaze means, but end up not taking the initiative to talk to her. This demonstrates total fear and insecurity, which can lead to uncomfortable situations. When someone becomes obsessed with observing another person without taking any action, it can seem strange to both parties. The woman may also wonder why she's being looked at so much and why the man doesn't approach her to talk. At the same time, women don't always give clear and explicit signs of interest, like those seen in movies, where a woman looks and smiles as validation. These signs are extremely rare in real life. I even have a video about what you should do when a woman looks at you. I highly recommend you watch this video to understand how much of a waste of energy and time it is to just stare at a woman. So, if you find a beautiful and interesting woman, don't stare at her body, look at her face, and don't spend hours or days obsessively observing this woman without doing anything. If she's a seemingly single woman and you found her interesting, it's best to look for a short period of time. See if she looks at you and looks away 2 or 3 times, but this isn't necessarily mandatory. The important thing is to act as quickly as possible and start a simple conversation, talking about the environment, to see if there's an opening in reciprocity. This way, you can identify the signs a woman gives when she's open through conversation, so you don't waste your precious time. Not to mention, this attitude demonstrates masculine energy. I invite you to watch my other video now on what you should do when a woman looks at you. And if you like this video, don't forget to leave your like here so I know, and also click on the subscribe button. Strong hug and bye.